this panel discussion, I'm going to go a little bit more on script because this is something that's really important to at least I think all of us. When it comes to Michelin to Munchies, is it possible to bring fine dining to the street? Now, we all need equipment. We all need manpower. We all need a brigade to create what we create. Everybody here has worked out of Vietnam. And everybody here has worked in Vietnam. So let's start off with the first question, which they wrote down and I memorized. What was your first experience with street food when you were little tiny?
Go for it. Not necessarily my very first memory, but I would say my most stood out memory in terms of street food was my very first bowl of pho with my grandfather. I remember he had like a Ziploc bag of self-roasted black pepper that they were prepared in advance to come to the pho place, open it up, put it on top of his bowl of pho. And together with, of course, how delicious that bowl was, stood out to me like one of my best experiences in terms of street food.
What was a bowl of pho when you were growing up? Well, back when you?
Cheap. Very cheap. 20K, 25K. Not as big as now, sure. But a lot of MSG, but tasty.
George, you're from Australia, but you also live in Japan. Talk to us a little bit about Japanese street food and how it's been part of your career and how it influences you in your cooking and your mindset and all that jazz.
Well, for me, it's I lived in Tokyo for about 5 years, and izakaya, drinking culture, eating culture is a massive part of like Japanese life, and just the diversity and the care and attention they put into it. It's something else entirely. Yeah.
Yeah. And has those experiences in life changed how you look at food and how food can be prepared?
Absolutely. I came from a fine dining background, and after my time over there, I kind of dialed it back, and I prefer a more casual but refined way of eating.
Beers are coming. Thank you so much to our sponsors, Peroni, for having a great beer.
Thank you.
Let's check it out, boys.
Cheers.
Hi, yo. Okay, George, continue on, please.
What was the question?
How has the street food culture in Japan influenced how you cook into the present day?
Right. Well, so at Khói, for example, we do a lot of yakitori. Very simple flavors. It's very distinct, and there's no kind of subtlety to it in a way. It's all very, very straight-laced and very, it is what it is.
Who here has been to Khói? Raise your hand. And you too. Okay, great. Who here has been to Ngoặm? Ngoặm. I want to go. I cannot wait to go to Ngoặm.
Oh, I have.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen him before.
All right, let's talk about you. You have lived in the UK. How is the street food in the UK inspired how you cook in this day and age at Chapter Grill and Downing?
Everybody jokes about food in the UK. Like decades ago, it was bland. It was boring. But actually, like food. When I was studying in the UK and then when I was working there, food was excited.
Fish and chips. Mushy peas. Something about a Twix bar that's been deep fried.
Nah, mate, it's Mars bars. Yes, Mars bars. But it's more. It's just there's more than that. Like there's food. Pub food, for example, are the closest to the Vietnamese street food, or closest sort of definitions of street food. in the UK. And pub food's always comfort, you know, it's always simple, big flavors. I remember, you know, like every Friday at the Winchesters, you know, like having curry, shepherd's pie, fish pie, you know, all of that was really good, by the way. But to be honest, you know, I can't compare them to the Vietnamese street food because, you know, like I grew up in Hanoi, so, you know, for me, street food is fond memories. So nothing beats the smell of bún chả when you just walk by the street. And you know, I happen to live near a very good sort of bún chả store when they just grill it on the street, and then it's just intoxicated the whole neighborhood. I mean, like it's horrible for the guys who live next door, but yeah.
When we look at Michelin street food in Thailand, in Japan, and in other countries in the area, what dish in Vietnam deserves, oh, look at your face already going. What dish in Vietnam deserves that Michelin guide? Go ahead. You're going to say bún chả, aren't you?
Too many, I think. But personally, I would pick the. I think bún chả is a good shout. Personally, a big fan of the dish. I think dipping grilled meat into fish sauce is such a brilliant idea. So that for me should be one of the nominees.
I've never seen a man with a mustache that nice before.
I'm looking right to it.
All right, George, you're up. And this could be Japanese food too. I mean, please,
well, for me,
open it up.
From my time in Vietnam, and it's not necessarily that. Like it ties back into that memory question you asked before, but for me, the bo la lot, you know, that was one of the first things I encountered, and that really distinctive smell of the la lot, the fat hitting the coals, and it's just intoxicating, and that smell, it draws you in, and for something so simple to be so delicious is amazing for me. You know, it ties into that kind of yakitori thing. It's something you get on a stick. It's so simple. There's nothing to it, but done properly, it's perfection.
Perfection. Now, before you get your answer, there's one more question, and then we are done. I'm gonna lay it into your mind now, so you can start messing with it, as all chefs do. Whatever dish you're gonna choose, great. How do you elevate that dish at your restaurant to get to that Michelin star level? And then go ahead. You're welcome.
Right, so I absolutely agree with the two chefs here. Bún chả is there. It deserves to be on the list for the Michelin guide. Also, pho. You know, like I've eaten too many phos in my life. You know, both outside Vietnam, inside Vietnam, and I think one of the best pho in Hanoi, hence in the world, is called phở bò Hồ Lợi. Have anyone heard of that? Phở bò Hồ Lợi.
Raise your hand.
Có ai ăn phở bò Hồ Lợi chưa nhỉ? Rồi. Very few people. So I think that's the reason why they won't get the Michelin star, because it's too far from the center of Hanoi.
Is Hồ Lợi an area in the north?
No, I think it's the name of the owner. It's very close to Victory Bridge, on the way to the airport, and they do pho with the utmost respect, and you know they are detail oriented. They try really hard. Even their chao kueh, their kueh is nice and not oily, really crispy. Condiments really good, and they have all choices of beef, of cuts you want. You know, they have short ribs, they have tendons, they have braised beef, anything you can think of, and the broth is
Testicles.
Well, yeah, getting there. They're getting there. But
I've eaten on my show. That's why I asked. Okay. Oh, sorry. But
anyway, the other street food which deserve Michelin star is my mum's banh mi store. So come to
give the address. Let's shout it out. What's her Insta? What's her TikTok?
Come to number 22 Jungian Street, please. Yeah, the line is there. The line is long, but you know, like it's worth the wait.
Is it all your staff?
Well, it's Mr. Thung down there actually.
All right. Last question, and then we'll go and enjoy the happy hour. Being that you chose the dish that you chose, how would you elevate it from a street food level to a more thought out empirical pork? I mean, you can go balls to the walls. The bad boys of Hanoi right here.
Okay, so
how would you gonna do it?
I wouldn't touch the technique at all. It'd be just using more high quality ingredients. So for like La Lot, you know, Wagyu, of course, you know, premium La Lot leaves grown yourself.
Sure.
It's pretty simple. It's just changing the ingredients.
It's quite funny because I had the same dish, Bo La Lot, at Chapter when we first opened. And it is Wagyu beef wrapped in La Lot and coal's fat, which is...
All fat. That's
yes. And then we
Put a
simply
bit of fibre in there as well.
Yeah. Simply grilled it.
Gold leaf.
And it's really good, really good. Now, come on, we are not
Caviar.
Soul Bay.
Where are my tweezers at? All right, you want to answer this question?
Me personally, with the respect I have for street food, I wouldn't say I would elevate it, you know? But we often say in Ngoặm, we would reimagine the dish, perhaps offer new points of view, offer new experience for the customer with the dish. Sadly, I chose buncha because I think buncha is perfectly the way it is.
I agree.
Wouldn't say that I would elevate anything.
I agree. Boys and everybody else, I want to say thank you so much to everybody on this panel. I want to say thank you to everybody who's been here since 9:30, 10. Hang out for the happy hour. There's going to be plenty of beers being poured. Shall we get up and do a bow?
Sure.
Okay.